Hari
Hari
Om.
Hari Om, everybody.
It's a gloomy morning in Gurugram, and suddenly
Oh,
the
it's beautiful.
weather has changed, and some are saying it's the onset of winter, but it looks like it's more rainy than winter right now. I don't know, but as they say, in vain the envious seasons roll, who bears eternal summer, his soul. So with that spirit, we'll take on the incoming season. Um, okay, let's start. प्रातः स्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वं सच्चित्सुखं परमहं सगतिं तुरीयं यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनं पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानं विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति. We'll chant from verses 13 to 17. Verse number 13 to 17 of chapter 5. सर्वकर्माणि मनसा सन्न्यस्यास्ते सुखं वशी नवद्वारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन्न कारयन् सर्वकर्माणि मनसा सन्न्यासस्ते सुखं वशी नवद्वारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन्न कारयन् न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्मतः नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैत सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः ज्ञानेन तु तदज्ञानं येषां नाशितमात्मनः तेषामादित्यवज्ञानं प्रकाशयति तत्परम् ज्ञानेन तु तदज्ञानं येषां नाशितमात्मनः तेषामादित्यवज्ञानं प्रकाशयति तत्परम्. तद्बुद्धयस्तदात्मानः तन्निष्ठा तत्परायणाः गच्छन्त्य पुनरावृत्तिं ज्ञाननिर्धूतकल्मषाः तद्बुद्ध्या तदात्मानः तन्निष्ठा तत्परायणाः गच्छन्त्य पुनरावृत्तिम् ज्ञाननिर्धूतकल्मषाः. Okay. Are there any questions?
So there was a question on the group chat, which we can take up if there are no questions. I think Manmana auntie.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. Munmunji, we are blessed that you have finally asked the query seated deep in your heart. See, it's always good to have new people ask questions, especially Munmunji, who always shies from asking questions. Okay, I won't put you more on the spot, Munmunji. I know you're already shy. I won't keep taking your name, Munmunji. Okay, I'm kidding. Okay, her question was, you said your obligations and your duties are self-imposed, so take it gracefully. I totally understand. But I love this. I love this when people say, I totally understand. But then what is total in it? Huh? See, I understand. No, I partially understand. I partially understand. I'm correcting it. But what about sometimes or maybe always? Now the but has changed into a, of course not, must. Uh, but what about sometimes or maybe always the obligations and duties piled on you, especially too many social obligations, with the thought of नहीं किया तो अच्छा नहीं लगेगा. How does one go about them? Who's saying नहीं किया तो अच्छा नहीं लगेगा? You're saying or someone else is saying?
Yeah, so the people around you say,
I hope you don't listen to everything people around you say. See, if you told me you were saying नहीं नहीं किया तो अच्छा नहीं लगेगा, it means it has come from your own discrimination. Then I would have said okay,
I mean both, like
maybe give it a second thought. Huh? Now, first of all, if you say yourself नहीं किया तो अच्छा नहीं लगेगा, then ask, is it your mind saying out of a peer pressure or out of a mere social weakness, or is it because your buddhi actually thinks, okay, this is not, it's not graceful, right? Right. So, see, we have to be less emotional and more. हम ना जब हम ऑब्लिगेशन या ड्यूटी की बात करते हैं हम बहुत भावुक हो जाते हैं. You must take up a role or a goal in life with your buddhi, and you must execute your obligations with your buddhi. One thing is to feel emotionally pressured, maybe by your environment or a half-baked understanding or a peer pressure or a social pressure, right? I'm not saying what every time society expects from you is wrong, not at all, but that shouldn't be the only determinant. हम अपने ऑब्लिगेशंस दूसरे का मन भरने के लिए नहीं कर रहे हैं, दूसरे के हित के लिए कर रहे हैं. Big difference in the two. A lot of times people's expectations or social obligations are nonsense. uh, and they feel like a burden, and rightly so. A lot of times they are not. A lot of times it's, in fact, very often when others are also not performing their obligations, but you must stand up to do yours, right? Because that's something right you're trying to uphold. So there's no one answer to your question, oh, what should I do in the situation? The only answer to your question is use your buddhi, because you're not doing your obligations to please others. You're not doing it simply to, cater to their whims and fancies. You're doing it out of deshe kale cha patre cha, right? In the right place at the right time for the right reason, for the benefit of the other, without any sense of, oh, I must receive back, oh, I must get back, oh, I'm going to benefit from this. No. Deshe kale cha patre cha. So fulfill your obligations, your duties in a without a sense of doership and with no expectation of any kind of return, with a spirit of repayment, always thinking about what is the right thing to do, what will benefit one and all. Loka sangraha. See, all these words, you're familiar with these words. They've all been, sprinkled around the Bhagavad Gita. This is all the right attitude with which to perform one's obligations. Not, oh, अगर ये नहीं किया तो वो बुरा मान जाएंगे. बुरा मानने के लिए तो लाइन से लोग खड़े हैं. Now, I'm not saying purposely instigate others, and you don't have to necessarily make others feel bad, but that's not the only determinant whether to do or not do something. Use your buddhi. When you use your buddhi, then nothing will feel like a burden. It will feel like a responsibility, or not. It will liberate you from a lot of unnecessary responsibilities you have piled upon yourself also. You'll have a clarity. So 99% of people भावुक होकर के, इमोशनल होकर के ड्यूटीज करते हैं. That's why it feels like a burden.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay, so in the beginning of this chapter, we have seen the discussion on sannyasi and yogi, and we've discussed about how they are two stages of the same journey. They're two facets of the same path. They're not separate paths. He who sees a sannyasi and a yogi as separate, he who sees Sankhya and Yoga as separate, he who sees a Hindu and a Muslim as separate, he who sees a Shaivite and a Vaishnavite as separate, such a person is a child. Such a person is a child. Understanding that they're all either different facets or different stages of the same journey, and they have different expressions. It means you have a deeper insight into the spiritual path, a deeper insight into the journey. It indicates that it is a path that you have walked yourself. Otherwise, the tendency to create separations, demarcations within a religion, within a particular sampradaya, within a particular following, creating subdivisions, is the norm, unfortunately. So we've been talking about sannyasi and yogi. Now, from verse number 13, he'll talk about a jnani. So recall, we shared that diagram with you all. The stages of the spiritual journey. A very pertinent diagram, something we must commit to memory, and for some reason something I cannot find. Okay, I found it, thank God. Okay. So we talked about the 7 stages of the spiritual path. I'm talking about the first 3 stages. If you want to understand it through the lens of yoga, Ashtanga yoga, it's the first 4 stages. Therein, yoga is elaborated not as karma bhakti jnana, but as yam, niyam, asan, and pranayam. So, when we're talking about karma bhakti jnana, it's cumulatively the yam, niyam, the asan, and the pranayam. So, when you come onto the spiritual journey, it starts with yoga. It starts with your effort to apply all your faculties to take in this knowledge, not only merely intellectually or emotionally, but to internalize it through the yogas, karma bhakti jnana. And that's when you attain a true evolution and graduate to a level of uparati, renunciation. So when you're in the stage of yoga, you're called a yogi. When you graduate to uparati, you're called a sannyasi. And we discussed, although we don't have a word for ourselves, but we are somewhere between bhogi and yogi. I asked you all to come up with a term, but I haven't received any nominations. What can we call ourselves? Neither are we fully yogis, but also we're not fully bhogis. Huh? I'll give us some benefit of doubt. So we're somewhere in the middle. We don't have a term for it. Either you're into yoga or you're not. Either you're a yogi or you're not. That's what this is telling us. Anyway, so through yoga, you graduate to uparati, to sannyas. You gain a mental withdrawal from the world, a gradual distance from your preoccupations. Such a person is qualified or becomes capable of concentration, keeping their mind on a single thought, keeping their mind on a single goal. This translates as, this is what gives some people, the individual, the capacity to make big changes in the world, which is why a lot of people who are actually able to create you know sort of far-sighted social movements or revolutions in society which sustain through time, right? Or commit themselves to a single goal when it seems so far, so opposed to what the world is like today. Takes decades and decades of continued effort in a particular direction to change the very fabric of society, perhaps. It's incredible, and only a rare few are able to spearhead such movements. It requires a great level of concentration. This is an exterior concentration. Similarly, an interior concentration is the capacity to stay with a thought. Your mind is not jumping here and there. So your mind is turning meditative, and that's what qualifies you for actual meditation. The capacity to hold a single thought to the exclusion of all other thoughts. Your single pointed focus on a single thought to the exclusion of all other thoughts, that is meditation. It's a very technical practice with which your mind is kept under supervision by the intellect. The mind chants a mantra. That mantra represents that single thought that your mind is poised upon. And the tendency of the mind is to slip. So that's where the watchful intellect prevents the mind from slipping into unnecessary thoughts, and any thoughts that enter, the intellect gently dismisses them. That's the role of the buddhi in dhyanam. So it's the innermost, perhaps the most secretive practice of in human culture, meditation, true meditation. And that's what is the gateway. Meditation is the gateway to what is called samadhi, or realization, enlightenment. Now, when you reach that state of meditation, you will have to, first of all, it indicates that you have already attained sannyas. It indicates that you have already gained a mental withdrawal and you are prepared to take up the 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 challenging practice of single pointed concentration. So that's when a guru will perhaps give you a guru mantra, and that's a mantra that is aligned to you. The guru knows what you are aligned to, and they give you a guru mantra, something you can resonate with. And that guru mantra guides you on the journey of meditation. And through meditation, you attain samadhi. They say in meditation, self reveals itself. You don't have to do anything, you just have to empty yourself through meditation, and the self will unfold. So, samadhi, when you reach the state of samadhi, you become a jnani. That's the reason I was showing you this diagram. Yoga, at the stage of yoga, you're a yogi. In the middle section, in this tunnel, you're a sannyasi. A sannyasi, one who has attained upparati and trained his mind to concentrate, is qualified for dhyana, meditation. So, this middle tunnel is the journey of a sannyasi. The initial journey is that of a yogi. The middle tunnel is of a sannyasi, and the culmination, the bulb, as it were, in this diagram, the bulb is the state of a jnani. This is what we'll be discussing today. He'll talk about the attributes of a jnani, the way in which a jnani functions almost, right? And it's very poetic because it's very hard to describe in words or put it in objective terms. What is a jnani or who is a jnani? It's very difficult to identify. Forget a jnani, it's very difficult to identify a sannyasi from the outside. Who is a real sannyasi? Is putting on ochre robes doesn't make you a sannyasi necessarily, right? So the next couple of verses he'll talk about a jnani. Did I see a hand up? Someone have a question?
Yes, sir. Divya here.
Hi, Divij.
I have a question. Sometimes, during the day, and the days are different. One feels, yes, I'm not my mind, my body, my intellect. I'm, the soul. And then there are days where you start associating again with your, emotions, and you start relating to it. So what is this oscillation? Is it you're going into, like, on this journey that you're showing from yoga to sannyasa to self-realization? What is this to and fro business? I mean, there are times you really feel that you're not that, and I've many times, but then you again slip back and start associating.
Yeah. See, now simply because you have heard it from a scripture that you are not the body, you're not the mind, you're not the intellect, and perhaps that thought has raised a curiosity and maybe to some extent even a resonance within you that, oh, what is this saying? I can tell you this is the first thought that came in my mind when I was first introduced to Vedanta. What is this? What are they saying? Right? There was a resonance and there was a curiosity. That resonance and curiosity will certainly give you maybe a flash of an inspiration. Oh, there's something within me beyond the body. There's something within me beyond the mind, beyond the intellect, that which is watching this right now, that which is observing them and their functions. That's an inspiration. But as you rightly said, there is an oscillation. You, more often than not, I mean, perhaps this is generally just a flash or maybe a couple of moments or a couple of minutes of an inspiration. And before long, before you know it, you're back into your normal way of functioning, which is totally engrossed and entangled and consumed by your identity, your egoistic identity, your body, your mind, your intellect. So this oscillation is going to be there with you throughout the journey. It's just that this oscillation reduces, or perhaps the period for which you're able to retain your inspiration or your focus of detachment will only increase with time. It's only but natural. You've spent dozens of years and dozens of lives believing yourself to be a certain identity. So it's only natural that that will get reinforced quite easily. And just a flash of inspiration or an intellectual idea will not change you entirely, right? If it was so easy, so simple, then we wouldn't need the spiritual path, right? But as you grow spiritually, this abstraction, this dissociation from the ego and its material equipments becomes more and more pervasive. Okay. And it's a journey. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of pile driving, because very frankly, the what you call the soul or the Atman, the self, is unknown. That's why it's represented by darkness. It's represented as dark. That's why we depict our avatars, Rama, Krishna, as dark, right? Because in essence, they are unknown. They manifest as this personality we can relate to. They manifest as a human form with a human life which we can relate to. But in essence, the deeper you go, it's a mystery. So this Atman, this soul, our real identity is actually unknown to us. We're just getting flashes of inspiration and trying to perhaps retain that. We're using all our faculties, especially this intellectual faculty, to try to grasp what exactly is the Atman, but actually we don't know. It's something we have to realize. And that realization happens, it's a journey. It's a culmination of a journey. So that realization won't happen so easily. Yes, what you are talking about, those flashes of inspiration, are merely that, right? They are an intellectual resonance with some flashes of inspiration, maybe some kind of like a sixth sense, right? But
Mhm.
but as such, this realization will only culminate in meditation. For that, we have to reach the 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 seat of meditation, and only in the complete silence of meditation, it is said you are able to attain what is this realization. Realization is not intellectual realization. Self realization is not an intellectual jugglery. It is a completely visceral and sort of, inner experience. It's an experience. So, no doubt, use these flashes of inspiration to keep on the journey.
Yes.
But
Yes.
see, a variety of life experiences brings us to, you know, the shores of such inquiry, right? And it doesn't matter why we come. It doesn't matter what brings us to this journey. What really matters is what keeps us here. Because it's like a marathon. It's not a sprint. The very
And
fact that we have landed here also means that we have been on this journey in the past. Otherwise, it's not so easy. See, when you speak like a bhakta, they'll say you'll need the grace of the Lord. Right? That's the way in which a bhakta speaks. You need the grace of the Lord to for this to come to you. And the way a gnani the way a intellectual look at it is that from a perspective of karma, you have put in a lot of karma to also receive this in your lifetime, to come into this environment, this um, discourse, have this experience where this knowledge is, close to you. So it's not by chance that we are here, but neither is it that okay, a small exposure to this itself will bring us enlightenment. No, it's a it's a marathon. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, verse number 30. Sarvakarmani manasa sanyasaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. Sarvakarmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. So, talking about the state of a jnani, the enlightened one who has graduated from yogi to sannyas and sannyas to realization, samadhi. Such a person, mentally renouncing all actions and self-controlled, this, the embodied, rests happily in the city of 9 gates, neither even acting nor causing to act. Mentally renouncing all actions and self-controlled, the embodied rests happily in the city of 9 gates, neither even acting nor causing to act. What is he saying? 9 gates, city. Huh? What does he mean? First of all, he's using the term the embodied. Mentally renouncing all actions and self-controlled, the embodied rests happily. Who is the embodied? You and I, all individuals are embodied. You are all spiritual beings in a physical form. When I say spiritual beings, you're the spirit enveloped by vasanas who have acquired a body to express these vasanas, to live through a variety of experiences. This body is the gateway to experiences. So embodied means with a body, having a body. You have a sukshma sharira and the sthula sharira, a gross body. So here you are a sukshma sharira with a sthula sharira. But if all of us are embodied, clearly this doesn't apply to all of us. The embodied rests happily in the city of 9 gates. Now we're not resting happily. No matter how happy we are, we always have some complaints or the other. So this is not talking about all of us. It's talking about a certain kind of embodied person, right? It's talking about a spiritually evolved embodied person. One who renounces all actions and is self-controlled. One who has walked the path of yoga and evolved. So such an individual who has gained spiritual maturity and perhaps even enlightenment. It's possible to gain enlightenment while embodied. That is the theory of Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti means while in this Jivan, while in this lifetime, while in this body, you attain Mukti, enlightenment, liberation. You can remain an embodied with prarabdha vasanas and still have attained enlightenment. So wherever you are on this journey of spiritual maturity, from a yogi you have matured to a sannyasi or even a jivan mukta. Such a person rests happily in the city of 9 gates. What is the city of 9 gates? The city of 9 gates represents your body. Your body is a city. Your physical body is a city. Gates means an opening. Your body is completely enclosed, but it has 9 gates. It has 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils. 6 gates. 7, the mouth. 8th, the genital organ. 9th, the anus. The 9 openings of the body. Everywhere else it is nicely covered. Huh? And any cut in your body, the body makes sure that it is immediately repaired. Any doctor out here will tell you, you cannot afford any other gates. Hmm? Your body cannot afford any other openings. Any other openings, and you'll get a bacterial disease and it'll be life threatening. You can't afford to have open wounds. Whenever there is any open wound, the body will rush to repair it. Why? Because no other gates should be there, no other opening should be there. Only these gates, which are well guarded, within your nostrils, you have hair like, you know, protective layer which prevents impurities from entering. Within your eyes, within your ears, they are all designed to be open but not damaged. Any other gates, so they are well guarded. These are well guarded gates, these 9 gates, and these are all there are. So the city of 9 gates is your physical body. Such a person, the embodied, rests happily in this body. Unlike you and me, who have a laundry list of complaints and worries and stresses and anxieties and wishes and fantasies and wants and desires, such a person rests happily. Sukham is content, is sama, is equanimous, neither even acting nor causing to act. Such a person has, remember that previous verse we saw in verse number, I think, 10, 9, 8 and 9. Pashyan Shrinvan Sprishan Jignan Ashnan Gachan Swapan Shwasan Pralapan Visrijan Grinnan Unmishan Nimishan. Whether seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, going, sleeping, bathing, speaking, releasing, whatever they are doing, they are seated happily in this city of 9 gates. They realize it is the body performing its functions. It's the material equipments performing their functions. It's the body perceiving and acting. It's the mind feeling. It's the intellect thinking. I am not acting. My body is acting. I am not acting. My mind is feeling. My intellect is thinking. And I have no particular desire. The body has, the senses have their desires. The mind has its desires. The intellect has its desires. I am Sakshi. So he's describing the state of a Sakshi, a Jivan Mukta, one who is a Jnani, one who is completely transformed through the experience of meditation. They are able to sit quietly as a Sakshi. Now, this is such a beautiful country. We've seen an actual demonstration of this. Ramana Maharishi, some of you may have heard of him. He literally sat for decades. He sat like this. I'm finding it hard to do it for 6 seconds. Imagine doing it for 6 years. A Jivan Mukta. Now, some of you, I'll give you the example of Ramana Maharshi. You'll be like, no, but I don't want to be like that. Huh? I don't want to just sit quietly. So not everybody is able to relate to Ramana Maharishi. Nonetheless, different sages, different enlightened beings have different expressions. While it doesn't matter what your external expression is, what is your inner state. Ramana Maharishi was such a unique case where the external expression was also of complete silence. But scores of sages who have attained enlightenment, they have a variety of expressions. Some are voracious speakers, they are great orators. Some are beautiful musicians or bhaktas in some other form. Some are philosophers, and some are great yogis doing a lot of seva for the world. So the enlightened beings have all sorts of expressions externally, but internally they rest happily. Internally, as I said, nothing can offend a jnani. Intellectually, at the level of the intellect, they are poised. Nothing can disturb a jnani. Emotionally, they are completely at peace. Nothing can hurt physically a jnani. Again, Ramana Maharshi, they say he had a surgery while completely conscious. He had a surgery on his back, completely conscious. An extreme example to demonstrate that complete detachment from the physical form. So when you reach the state of sannyas and then graduate further to the state of enlightenment, there's that gradual disassociation with the material equipments that he's talking about. A complete Sakshi Bhav. A beautiful name we give our children, Sakshi. This is what it means. Becoming the witness. Sakshi means witness. One who observes, one who's able to. The wise one is a Sakshi, they observe. Without getting impulsively involved and reacting. From that watchful stance, from the pulpit of the self, from the pulpit of the soul, they're simply watching the entire drama unfold. Like Divyaji said, sometimes you get that inspiration. Such a person is in that state permanently. There's no oscillation. They're in the state of that Sakshi, resting happily. While embodied, while in this city of nine gates, watching the body perform its functions, watching the mind perform its functions, watching the intellect perform its functions. And the nature of the bodily functions, the nature of the mind and intellect's functions are oscillating by nature. The mind will fluctuate through joy and sorrow. The body will fluctuate through pleasure and pain. The intellect will fluctuate between awareness and ignorance and confusion. That's the nature of these equipments. But there is something within you which is just watching it all through the ups and the downs. If we are able to connect with that Atman, that intelligence, whatever you want to call it, that Godhood, that's enlightenment. Verse number 14. न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. The Lord Prabhu uses the word Prabhu. The Lord creates neither doership nor actions, nor union with the fruit of action for the world. Nature manifests itself. So he's extending the explanation. The Lord, we think the Lord is some God sitting outside in heaven. When he's using the word the Lord, he's talking about the soul within. God is seated in the core of your being. Your soul, your spirit, your real self is Prabhu. And this Prabhu, this Atman, which you can access through the spiritual journey, which you can become, which you can reach. See, God is not a person. This is what we have to understand. We use the term God, Prabhu, Bhagavan. God is not a person. God is a position. Just like the principal or the prime minister or the chief minister is not a person. It's a position. A person can attain that position if they are qualified. In a democracy, you can become the prime minister if you're elected. A person qualified for a position assumes that position, becomes that position. Immediately they lose their identity, erstwhile identity, and they assume and they gain the new identity of the prime minister, of the chief minister, of the principal. So is it with God. God is not a person God is a position which, if you evolve, you can become. In our culture, we give sages the name of God. We give individuals who have walked the path and become enlightened, we give them the name of God. We call them Bhagavan. Again, Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi. Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi. He's called Bhagavan. Some people who are completely new to this concept may find it blasphemous. No, this is what we celebrate in our culture. An individual who has realized his godhood has become God. Now, anyone claiming to be God, be careful of them. Huh? I am Bhagwan. That's the problem. When there is no I, you become Bhagwan. That's the beauty. Hmm? When there is no I, that's when you become Bhagwan. Someone saying I am Bhagwan, kuch gadbad hai. So, the Lord, that Godhood within you, is completely disassociated from the physical or the non-physical bodies, the sukshma or the sthula sharira. Just like a sword with a sheath on top. जैसे कबीर बोलते हैं ना, मोल करो तलवार का, पड़े रहन दो म्यान. ये जो म्यान होता है ना, ये म्यान केवल तलवार को कवर करता है, बट तलवार को कभी छूता नहीं है. A proper sheath is never touching the sword, because if the sheath touches the sword, it will actually damage it. For those of you who know that, so the sheath actually doesn't touch the sword, it just covers it. Similarly, the physical form and your sukshma form, the bodies that envelop your Atman, are not actually touching the Atman in any way, if there was such a thing of touching. There's a disassociation, there's a separation, there's a distinction. So this Atman within you, your real self, is detached. It creates neither doership nor actions nor the union with fruit of action. All of this drama of what to do, what not to do, all this drama of what will I get out of it, what do I want out of it, all this drama of I am acting, I am the one who's doing this, I am responsible for it. The desire to act, the desire to enjoy the fruit of action, and the sense of doership in the action, this entire drama is happening because of your prakriti, nature. It's your prakriti manifesting. Swabhava. You are a combination of Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is the Atman within you. Prakriti is the nature enveloping it. The nature is just playing its part. It's expressing itself. The Atman within you is simply enlivening. It has nothing to do with what the Prakriti does, what it doesn't do. It doesn't have any interest in what the Prakriti will get out of it, the fruit of the enjoyment. And it has no sense of doership. It's not responsible for the sense of doership. All of that, what you're doing, the action, what you're getting out of the action, the fruit, and that sense of doership, the arrogation of the action. I am doing this. All of this is the play of Prakriti. If your Prakriti is Sattvic, you'll do Sattvic actions. If your Prakriti is Tamasic, you'll do Tamasic action. If your Prakriti is spiritually evolved, you will not care about the fruit of action. If your Prakriti is not evolved, you will be obsessed with the fruit of action. If your Prakriti is, again, evolved, you will not have a sense of doership. If your Prakriti is not evolved, you will have a strong sense of doership. The Atman, the Lord, that position has nothing to do with it. It's simply observing and enabling. We'll take one more verse, verse number 15. नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः. The Lord accepts neither the sin nor even the virtue of anyone. Knowledge is veiled by ignorance, beings thereby are deluded. The Lord has nothing to do with your virtues or your vices. Again, as I said, if you're evolved, you'll function in a certain way. If your prakriti is evolved, you'll function in a certain way. If your prakriti is not evolved, you'll function in a certain way. The Lord, the Atman, the Spirit, is the same in a sinner or a saint. The same sinner, the same Atman enables and enlivens the function, the equipments of a sinner. The same Atman enables and enlivens the equipments of a saint. Ultimately, your role is to purify your Prakriti and eventually merge with the Purusha. Dissolve your entire Prakriti. But so long as you have a Prakriti, you'll be in the spectrum. So, the Lord has nothing to do with your sin or your virtue. If you're sinful, you'll suffer. If you're mindful of your virtue, you'll suffer. If you're sinful, you'll suffer. If you're mindful of your, what do I mean by mindful of your virtue? I am great. I am doing something so important. I am responsible. I should be appreciated. That egoism, even in virtue. The virtue is more important than the person who is virtuous. That's what people forget. And ultimately, if you're seeking God, neither your sin or your virtue are important. Forgetting that I, forgetting the ego, letting go of the I is what is important. Neither being self-conscious, oh I'm so bad, neither being proud, I'm so good. No I. You let go of the I, you'll reach God. But this knowledge, this enlightenment, this awareness, this realization is veiled by ignorance. You're living under a veil. This ignorance which causes this ego, this separation, this otherness, this plurality, and therefore we live a deluded life. You gain the knowledge of self, you gain enlightenment, this ignorance will immediately vanish. This plurality will immediately dissolve. There'll be no separation, there'll be oneness. Once you attain knowledge, but so long as you lack knowledge, you are in this ignorance of me as separate from you, as the ego separate from the ego. The ego exists for this very purpose. The ego exists because of the separation. Remove the separation, the ego will completely dissolve. But such is the nature of delusion, it's so hard to get out of. Lose yourself and you'll find God. Knowledge is veiled by ignorance and beings are deluded. The Lord has nothing to do with it. The Lord is just watching. Hard to connect with. Now, if I talk about this every day, the attendance in the class will drop. But occasionally, the Bhagavad Gita gives us these beautiful verses. It's hard to connect with. It's hard to retain this level of thought. If you have a taste for it, I appreciate it. If it's something you can't resonate with yet, don't worry. We'll get back to something we can relate to perhaps in the subsequent classes. But if you were intrigued by what we discussed today, please go back and do read the text, do read the commentary. It's a wonderful perspective, and come back with questions. So with that thought, we'll conclude today. I'll take up any quick questions if there are. Either what I said completely flew over your head. Kuch samajh mein nahi aaya. I tried. I'll try again next time. Okay. A lot of times when such topics came up in class and Swamiji would explain, suddenly you'll see people around are yawning. Very interesting, very interesting. Because it's and especially if there's some sabudana served for breakfast before such classes. If sabudana was served before such classes, people would start properly dozing off. Which is why there was a rule in the ashram: before a class, no sabudana. If there's class at 9:30, then we'll have some light breakfast. But there was the odd occasion in the ashram when we used to have a break in the morning, like a self-study session. And Swamiji also know what people do in self-study session. They study themselves in yoga nidra. So we'd be served sabudana. But when such topics came, even without sabudana, people would be slightly lost. So don't worry, is what I'm saying. If it's something you couldn't connect with fully, it's fine. We'll try again next time. But with that thought, thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you again day after tomorrow. Right? Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you, sir. Hari Om, sir.
Hari